So I wanted to do a follow-up video to the Milo Yiannopoulos video, at which there were some protesters. Just want to explain why I don't go to protests. Now, not protests, but events that people like Milo host. Ben Shapiro is another one. He gets protesters at his events all the time. Can't quite understand it because Ben Shapiro is a little bit more tame and a little more articulate and a little more refined than Milo. And they don't agree with each other. They have a lot in common. I don't know if they are aware of it or not, but anyway, regardless, this is about why I don't go to protests. Now, you might look at me and think, you know, I'm a pasty, skinny white guy. I work in an office. Kind of soft. Well, you'd be right, and you'd also be wrong. I've got a violent past. I used to love being violent. I used to love to fight. There's still some part of me that loves to fight. I've never been able to back down from one, and yeah, I've gotten my ass beat because I didn't back down. Whether that's foolish or not is, up to you. I've made foolish moves. I've made some mistakes. I've gotten my ass handed to me for it. But the one thing that prevents me from going to these events are you leftist protesters that get violent with Trump supporters. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't support Trump. I'm an anarchist. I don't support the state or any government of any sort. But I would love to attend one of Milo Yiannopoulos' events and hear him speak, perhaps even meet the guy. I would love to go to a Ben Shapiro event and hear him speak. Now, the public are invited to these events, even though they are held on university campuses most of the time. But here's my problem, my personal problem. And I think if I explain this to you folks, then a lot of you will relate to this. And a lot of you on the other side, on the side of the left, in the Hillary camp, the anti-Trumpers, the never-Trumpers, you guys, you pukes, you disgusting, violent pukes. You need to understand why people like me don't go to these events. The reason is because if you lay a finger on me, I'll fuck you up right then and there. I do not give a flying fuck. You lay a finger on me or spit on me or rip something out of my hands or off my head, you're going on the ground. And I'm not just going to stop with knocking you out. I'm going to inflict some damage. I'm going to wreck your fucking face. Yeah, I'll go to jail. I don't care. It's about respect. It's about having decency. And it's about being disrespected. Yeah, I am one of those guys where if you disrespect me, I will fuck you up. Usually, I won't touch you unless you touch me. You would have to go really, really far. In fact, I'm comfortable with saying that as long as you keep your hands to yourself, you and I are fine. But if one of you liberal protesters, and I don't care if you're male or female, if you're female, I'll probably fuck you up even harder. Because I know you're not going to learn if you don't get a consequence, a physical consequence, right? I remember seeing last year an article that came out on Yahoo. And they showed a video clip of the event. I can't remember what the specific event was, but Yahoo painted the entire context as in this young woman was maced in the face for no reason. And they showed her being maced in the face. Oh, the trauma, Well, what they did not show was that 2 seconds before she got maced in the face, she punched a 60-something-year-old senior citizen man in the face without provocation. She punched him in the face with a closed fist, as clear as day. Yahoo painted that incident completely one-sided, as if the Trump the Trump supporters were the ones who were violent. Well, that was not the case at all. It was the anti-Trump protesters that were violent. This young lady was an anti-Trump protester, and she could not stand the fact that she didn't have an argument with this gentleman. And she punched him in the face, and 2 seconds later he maced her in the face. Well, good for him, I say. If that young lady had punched me in the face like that, do you think I'd stop at mace? Fuck no. I would wreck the shit out of her face. She would be in the hospital eating through a straw. And I'd be in jail. But you know what? I'll bet you she would never ever forget that as long as she lived. Do you think she'd go to another protest and behave that way? No. So you leftist motherfuckers are lucky that people like me don't go to these events, because we would met out a physical consequence that you would never, ever forget.